from Florence, South Carolina, in the Florence Civic Center. It is your site for the Class 3A Girls Lower State Basketball Championships as the 20-4 Diamond Hornets of Lower Richland take on the 23-1 number 1 ranked Dreer Blue Devils. Hello, everybody. I am Birch Antley, joined by Alan Smothers. Alan, this is going to be a whale of a ball game. Two teams that know a lot about each other, Dreer and Lower Richland, set to hook horns, fighting their way for a right to play in the state championship in Columbia next week.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We normally start the broadcast talking about players, talking about the matchups, if you will. Well, I'm going to start this broadcast talking about the coaches. That's the matchup that I'm going, matching wits. Debbie Stroman, 6 state championships at Lower Richland. Up until last year, when she was unseated by Myrtle Beach in 3A, she had won 5 4A state championships. But Dreer's coach, Teresa Jones, although she's coached half as many years, has an equal number of wins at that level. Teresa Jones, Debbie Stroman, these two are going to match wits. And I know, knowing Debbie Stroman like I do, she's been to the Crescent Bank Holiday Invitational, and I've broadcast her games the past several years. Debbie takes things like this personally. She is looking forward to the matchup with Teresa Jones, and believe me, it doesn't sit well that they came in second place in Region 5 to the Lady Blue Devils this year.
It is going to be a fantastic matchup. Two teams from the Columbia area, Dreer from Columbia proper, Lower Richland from Hopkins, just outside of the capital city. Let's take a look at your starting lineups for this championship tilt. We will look first at the Lower Richland Diamond Hornets. They are led by their 3 guards, Chelsea Dennis, Desiree Davis, or check that, Jasmine Richardson, and Justice Nathan. In the paint, Desiree Davis, the forward, she's a senior, and Brashay Johnson, the 5'10", sophomore center. On the other side of the courts for the Dreer Blue Devils, this is how they will line up. The guards, Jasmine Robinson and Shaniqua Hopkins. The forwards, Jade Nathaniel and Kadra Duckett, an all-state player as a sophomore in the center. Michaela Johnson, another super sophomore. Look at that, 4 sophomores and 1 senior starting for the Dreer Blue Devils. They only have 1 loss on the year, number 1 ranked team in the state of South Carolina, looking to punch their ticket to Columbia, but standing in the way, the Lower Richland Diamond Hornets with a rich basketball tradition.
Yeah, Debbie Stroman's won over 430 games in her career in 19 years at Lower Richland, 8 lower state meetings, 6 state title games, and 6 state championships.
And we are ready for the tip. Left of your screen, that's the Dreer Blue Devils. White uniforms, blue trim. Diamond Hornets in the all black with the yellow trim. Tip is controlled by Dreer. Drifting to her right is Shaniqua Hopkins. She works down low to Michaela Johnson. Her shot is denied, and LR on the move, and there's a quick steal as Jasmine Robinson intercepts the pass. And Dreer will work it top of your screen, left wing, over to Kadra Duckett, the 5'8" sophomore, all-state selection in Class 3A basketball. Trying to find Michaela Johnson in the paint. A 6'2" sophomore, and it's out of bounds to Lower Richland.
Lower Richland wearing the black tonight with gold numerals and white trim. Dreer in the home white with royal blue numbers and black trim.
And Lower Richland getting an extra boost of support here tonight as the boys team will take the court next. So they brought an extra cheering section with them from Hopkins, South Carolina, Lower Richland County, just off Garner's Ferry Road to Sumter Highway.
You know, Lower Richland was the first school, even before Sockasty, when I moved to South Carolina in 1986, that I became enamored with, because back in those days, Stanley Roberts, JoJo English, and the like were patrolling the sidelines. I believe Tracy Garrick was a senior the year I came, and Jim Childers had some fabulous Lower Richland matchups with Eau Claire and their fabulous teams as well. But Debbie Stroman has changed the attitude in Lower Richland girls basketball since she's been there.
Yeah, built a dynasty Alton Hopkins. Score right now 2-0 in favor of the Blue Devils of Dreer. Now, these teams have met before during the regular season, with Dreer getting the best of Lower Richland. Now, remember, Alan, in our first game of the day, the Class A girls game between Timmonsville and C.E. Murray. C.E. Murray had defeated Timmonsville twice in the regular season, but here in the lower state championship, it was all Timmonsville.
They blowed them out by 20. So Lower Richland is looking to do the same. And again, Debbie Stroman, she looks young enough to still be playing at the college level. Debbie's daughter is playing in college at the University of Miami, and her son is on the boys team at Lower Richland that we're going to see here in the next game for the lower state championship. But Debbie, very young appearance, and she looks like she could still play.
Driving in is Jasmine Robinson after missing the free throws. And Lower Richland is able to pick up the loose ball rebound. Fighting for it right now is Jasmine Richardson. It's going to be tough to keep those two Jasmines straight. Jasmine Robinson for Dreer, Jasmine Richardson for Lower Richland. Thank goodness they don't wear the same jersey number.
Well, in the girls' North Carolina, South Carolina All-Star game last year, we had two girls with the exact same name, one for each Carolina.
Always fun. Driving in is Jasmine Richardson, all-state player for Lower Richland. She cannot find her shot. And coming down with a rebound is Shaniqua Hopkins, a sophomore guard for Teresa Jones's Dreer Blue Devils. A turnaround jumper in the paint. Doesn't fall for Duckett, but the follow-through is good for Johnson, Michaela Johnson, the 6'2 sophomore.
She's got a nice size to her. She's not, carrying a lot of weight, but she does have some muscle on that 6'2 frame, averaging 10 points and 6 rebounds a ball game.
Very young team for the Dreer Blue Devils. They've got a freshman and an 8th grader on the roster. Only a handful of seniors, and only one senior in the starting lineup. As Kadra Duckett near sideline, giving off to Janisha Myers, who just checked into the game, and Myers makes the most of it. Steps on the court, and drops in a layup, and Dreer leading 6-0.
She had to spin that thing in the hoop.
LR just struggling to find an open look at the basket, as Dreer doing a good job of clogging that lane. But foul is called, so going to the lane will believe to be Brashay Johnson. It is. Number 25, the sophomore center, averages 11 points and 7 rebounds a game for Debbie Stroman's Diamond Hornets.
And what I mentioned about Debbie earlier, it looked like she could still play. She has the competitive fire. She still envisions herself playing like she did back in the day when she was the leader of her college and high school team. She still has that competitive desire that she tries to impart to her team.
Second shot rims out. Rebound taken down by Dreer. Lower Richland, the Diamond Mine, that famous gymnasium of theirs, one of the greatest places to watch a high school basketball game. The gymnasium over at Dreer, very nice as well. The South Carolina High School League Network crew, we were just over there 2 weeks ago calling the play-by-play on the SCHSL network for the Duels Wrestling State Championships. So fans of the SCHSL network, you've seen that Dreer gymnasium. On the floor is Shaniqua Hopkins, and she's able to get it over to Jade Nathaniel, but slips out of bounds, but right back to the Blue Devils.
Yeah, you mentioned the Diamond Mine, a very storied building indeed. It got a write-up in the state newspaper this past week, but when those great matchups between Lower Richland and Eau Claire back in the late 80s and early 90s were played.
There wasn't a high school gym in the state that could hold it, so they had to play it at the Carolina Coliseum and still sold that arena out.
That's exactly right.
On the move is Jasmine Richardson, and she loses the handle, but it's going to be tracked down by Desiree Davis, the senior. LR looking for points, have yet to crack the scoreboard. Dreer takes it away, out of control is Kadra Duckett, and she loses it in the backcourt to Lower Richland.
See, Dreer is employing what many people would remember as Jerry Tarkanian's amoeba zone. They're keeping the tall girls along the back line and extending the guards out to pressure the ball, and that's causing Lower Richland a lot of trouble to get the ball into the high post.
8-0, Dreer blanking LR right now.
That's what they need to do. They need to get the ball to the foul line first, then square up to the basket and see what's open on the wings.
Whistle and a foul, and this one is on Jasmine Richardson, her second foul early in this game. 3:51 remaining, Dreer leading.
Lower Richland going full court pressure now, trapping, and a call timeout because Dreer, that's a switch in the defense by Debbie Stroman's team. She wants to try to get the tempo going a little crazy now. Dreer's got it going that way in the half court. Debbie wants to get it that way in the full court. Maybe she can get an open shot. Right now, Lower Richland's just not getting a good look at the basket.
Yeah, none at all. And as we said, Dreer, their defense has just done an outstanding job of choking LR in the lane. Well, we just got the score from the Upper State Championship. 75-44, Newberry defeating Lee Central in the boys matchup. So we'll have North Charleston and Newberry next week here on the SCHSL network for the 2A boys state championship. They're a little behind schedule up in Greenville. Emerson Phillips and Stacy Huff working the broadcast for us at the Bilo Center.
And you live over towards the Midlands. Is Newberry kind of a surprise this year?
Yes. They knocked off the defending state champs Keenan to make it to the Upper State Championship. Newberry, a bit of a surprise, but they've got an all-state player on that roster. So the Newberry Bulldogs are playing in the finals. 8-0 here. The Dreer Lady Blue Devils leading the Diamond Hornets of Lower Richland. Lower Richland has Deshawnee Mitchell in the lineup now, and she misses a shot after just checking in. And now over to Kadra Duckett for Dreer. Duckett pushes it out left wing to Janisha Myers. Her shot not there, and the rebound brought down by LR and Ashley Irving, who's fresh into the game. Irving's fresh legs gives points to Lower Richland. And they're on the scoreboard with 3 minutes to play in the first period.
Debbie goes. Finally. Now they can start working some.
Now they can relax a little bit, settle into their game plan.
That's exactly right. Just get that first bucket out of the way. Takes all the pressure off.
Yeah, Lower Richland 20-4 in the year, 10-2 in Region 5. Dreer 23-1, undefeated in Region 5, winning the region crown.
Now Lower Richland falling back into a zone. I don't like this for the Diamonds right now.
Trying to go inside to Jasmine Robinson.
Dreer has too much height. They'll be able to throw over that zone and get it into the low post. What they might want to do, though, first is bring Krista Canty up to the high post and then work with their all-state player, Kadra Duckett, in the low post or on the perimeter, and then get Michaela Johnson the ball down inside.
Yeah, Michaela, the 6'2 sophomore, an imposing figure on the court right now for Dreer. Working to the bottom of your screen is Jasmine Robinson. Hands off to Shaniqua Hopkins. Now right wing, three-pointer, no good for Robinson. Rebound, fought for, collected by Johnson, and the points.
Dreer's length is going to be able to offset. I know what Debbie wants to do is stop them from getting the three-point shots, but if they're going to be able to arch it up over the top and get it into the low post.
Three-pointer, strings it. Shaniqua Hopkins, the 5'3 sophomore, off the feed from Jasmine Robinson, who picked up the steal 5 consecutive points right there for the Dreer Blue Devils, and a timeout taken by Debbie Strobin. And that's a timeout that she just has to call.
No, absolutely. And she obviously knows this Dreer team better than I. And she may not be able to feel like she's able to match up with the athleticism and size one-on-one with Michaela Johnson inside. So maybe they go by committee in that zone. If they get it in the low post to her, they'll collapse on Johnson. But if the guards are going to hit shots and they're able to get it to Johnson inside that easily, Lower Richland's going to be in big trouble. I said in the last game, I've never ever been a fan of zone defense. I know sometimes it's imperative, but Lower Richland's not going to be able to match up with Dreer in that zone.
Trapped over here on the near sideline, and a foul is called. Foul on Alexis McNeil, her first for the Dreer Blue Devils, the 5'5" senior. Pulling the trigger on the inbounds is Ashley Irving for Lower Richland. She scoots by Jasmine Robinson. Irving to the hoop, and there to disrupt her shot is Michaela Johnson, and Johnson quickly ahead to Duckett. Duckett for the lay-in off the square. She got it and put her on the line.
And I like that little stop and go. That was a terrific move by Kadra Duckett. Now I can see why she was All-State. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 5 steals, great handles. And you see that little hitch in her giddy-up, and that froze the defender, and she was able to get by her, or at least get to the side of her and calls the foul.
Kadra Duckett with a drop in the bucket. That's just too easy with a name like that. She is a broadcaster's dream and a coach's dream as well. All-State Class 3A just as a sophomore. Boy, have we seen some wonderful sophomores here in this Lower State Championship?
Well, I don't know if there's going to be a 2-year lull in recruiting.
I mean, a great sophomore in our first game, Timmonsville, Sade Eli. We saw an outstanding sophomore in the second girls game for Bishop England. And now Kadra Duckett, just a sophomore. Also Michaela Johnson for Dreer, only in the 10th grade.
Yeah, I don't know who I like better. I mean, I love Sade Eli from Timmonsville. I mean, make no mistake about that. She could play for me anytime, anywhere.
Well, the talent pool is just very, very deep.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Here in South Carolina.
There's going to be a lot of Division I coaches, women's coaches, living in South Carolina in the next 2 years. Obviously, Gino Ariama's already come down to recruit a couple of South Carolina girls this year. And you can bet he will be back in South Carolina when Kadra Duckett and Sade Eli become seniors.
Minute 36 remaining here in the first period. That shot by Justice Nathan, a little short. And Lower Richland just struggling to get a good look at the basket. Into the ballgame now, Alexis McNeil for the Dreer Blue Devils, number 45. Also, Krista Canty. Left wing near sideline is Chelsea Dennis. Now Lower Richland works left, or right to left rather. And that one is snatched down by Alexis McNeil. Bringing the pressure on defense, LR. They come up with the steal and the points.
And that's what I thought earlier Debbie was trying to create with that full court pressure, but she was yelling to get back after they made that bucket, to get back and I guess coordinate their zone. They're in a 2-3 zone, and again, hate to disagree with the move. She knows her team, but this is a little surprising to me, Birch. I really expected this to be a close, hotly contested game.
Launching a long three-pointer there is Hopkins. LR tracks down the rebound, and the Diamond Hornets on the run. And travel is the call. Traveling on Lower Richland. That was Ashley Irving with the infraction. Near sideline, Jasmine Robinson. She'll take it over the timeline. And now left wing, posting up a three-pointer. Kadra Duckett misses the mark. That ball rolls out of bounds to Lower Richland. little half-court press here by Dreer. Lower Richland able to get it across the timeline. And that leaves a wide open Diamond Hornet underneath the basket. Christian Brown able to pick up the bucket. And there's another steal by LR. Open look. And she draws the foul. Chelsea Dennis with the steal and the trip to the free throw line. It is a 16-6 Dreer lead right now. Closing seconds of the first period. We've got 5 on the clock. And at the line right now, Chelsea Dennis, the senior, drops in the first. Coming in for Dreer now, Jalea Dunlap, the 8th grader. Jalea Dunlap, 6'1", and in the 8th grade.
That surprised me when I saw that on the roster. 8th grade, 6'1".
I think she is over at Hand Middle School and has to take the bus over to Dreer High for practice. There's a good basket for Lower Richland and DeShanche Mitchell, the junior. And that is it for the first period of action. It is 16-9. Well, the Dreer Blue Devils.
Dreer called timeout.
Yeah, they did? Okay.
Yes, Dreer called timeout. They were given the timeout, but it shows zeros on the clock. The
officials are talking. The cheerleaders are at half court. Let's keep it right here for just a moment. And they're indeed saying it is the end of the first period. So
no timeout.
We will come right back to Florence in just a moment here on the SCHSL Network. Second period action here. Set to begin from the Florence Civic Center. Birch Antley and some others with you. 3A Lower State Girls Championship. Dreer leading by 7, 16-9. Lower Richland has closed the gap a little bit as Dreer at one time had a larger lead. Here's the 8th grader working hard in the paint for Dreer. Can't get her shot to fall, but look at her fight for the rebound and the stick back. That is Jalea Dunlap, the 8th grader, playing for the #1 ranked girls team in 3A basketball, the Dreer Blue Devils.
Yeah, she filled the stat sheet on her first trip down the court. 2 rebounds and 2 points. Now she picks up a foul. I thought it was going to be a block shot on the other end.
So to the line for Lower Richland goes Christian Brown. Trying to cut into this Dreer lead. Taking a look at the road through the playoffs. Dreer a #1 seed, Lower Richland a #2 seed. Dreer knocking off Hartsville in the first round. Then defeating Myrtle Beach, who played for a state championship a year ago, led by Khadijah Sessions. That was a big win for the Blue Devils in Columbia, and then in their home gym, knocking off Crestwood to make it here to Florence. Lower Richland, a first round win over Lakewood, and then LR going on the road down to Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, to knock off St. James, and then defeating Marlborough County by 12 to advance here to the Florence Civic Center for the Lower State Finals. Winner of this game will take on either Clinton or Wade Hampton of Greenville.
A little surprising how easily it was for LR to get here to this game. Obviously, Dreer's been #1 all year long, so the big wins in their previous games, not surprising.
Here's Duckett. going up. And that shot is off the left rim, and Christian Brown jerks down the rebound. Takes it across the timeline. Brown feeds Chelsea Dennis. And Dennis works it inside to Desiree Davis. Now they'll go baseline with DeShanshay Mitchell. And Mitchell is going to draw the foul as she was moving along that baseline. And that's the second foul on Kadra Duckett. She'll miss the first. So Janisha Myers checks in now for Dreer. And the second is not there. And fighting for the rebound is Michaela Johnson, swinging her elbows out.
Yeah, she's been very animated on most of her rebounds in this ball game. What she needs to do is just calm it down a little bit, come down, be strong with the ball, chin it, and then look up the floor, get it out, and see if they can't get Dreer on in transition.
Shaniqua Hopkins calls the play and dishes to Jasmine Robinson. Robinson wants Janisha Myers a little bit closer. Hopkins drifting to her right, now back left. Trying to find Michaela Johnson inside. Errant pass, and Lower Richland comes up with a loose ball. LR. Justice Nathan. Big shot.
That was the result of Michaela Johnson venturing out onto the perimeter to try to guard the ball rather than staying inside. They arched it up over top, and she got burned inside.
Here comes Hopkins. Puts up a high arching shot. Not there. Rebound fought for, controlled by LR. On the move is Justice Nathan. Nathan over the shoulder. And that pass is tipped out of bounds. A streaking Jasmine Robinson tipped it out.
And this is one of the few games that our friend Emerson Phillips would rather be here watching than where he is at the Bilo Center calling the games for the SCHSL.TV network, because he's a graduate of Dreer High School. He's a Blue Devil.
He certainly is. Emerson Phillips and Stacy Huff, our broadcasting crew up in Greenville here on the SCHSL network for the Upper State Championships. And we'll have the entire crew together next week in Columbia for the state championships. And the field is pretty much set. We have this game and then the nightcap, the 3A boys between Hartsville and Lower Richland. And the brackets will be complete. At the line for Dreer, Jade Nathaniel, the 5'8" senior. Drops it in. Good form for Jade Nathaniel. She is in the scorebook now with points. This is the second. It's 19-11.
She almost got it back after the miss. That's, trying to make up for a mistake. You got to appreciate that as a coach. You miss a shot, go after it.
You see Debbie Stroman, top of your screen, standing on the Lower Richland bench. Very active coach. Little bounce pass from DeShanshay Mitchell, and they've got a foul right there.
Shea had her shot pinned, but
yeah, no foul, so no call.
Yep.
Just a turnover to Dreer.
Jump ball.
So bringing it into the front court, Shaniqua Hopkins. Hopkins over to Myers. Now back out to Robinson. Robinson launches a three. Rebound taken down by Michaela Johnson. Now this is a tall lineup right now for Dreer. They definitely have the height advantage with Johnson at 6'2", and Dunlap at 6'1". They'll go into Johnson, and she's going to draw the foul. I believe that's on Deja Williford, another 8th grader. This one for Lower Richland.
Yeah, I was going to say, with Michaela Johnson, a sophomore, and Jalea Dunlap, an 8th grader, you're going to be seeing a lot of these young ladies for a long time on high school basketball here in South Carolina.
Shot too strong from Johnson.
Much like Timminsville, who won the 1A girls title at all the young girls they had, the sophomores, the 8th graders, the 7th graders, and now going to the state.
Look at there, a takeaway by Dreer. Open look, too strong on the fast break. Got a second chance here for the Blue Devils. Trapped over there on the far sideline. Debbie Stroman wanted a traveling call, and she got it.
Yeah, she coaxed that one. That's when you're as successful a coach as she is, and I don't care at what level or what sport, when you're as successful as she is, sometimes you get those calls because the officials say, well, she's probably right.
Lower Richland in the lane, taken away by Dreer. And now Hopkins again. Try to slow the pace down here, with her team leading by 8, just under 4 minutes to play. Coming out is Nathan to check Hopkins. Outlet pass, and that's going to go into the back court, and that's a turnover to Lower Richland.
Talked about Debbie Stroman a moment ago. 19 years she's been the head coach. 433 and 112. Very impressive winning percentage. Teresa Jones almost matches it, just barely tenths of a percentage point less. 195 wins, but only 62 losses at Dreer.
Rebound snatched down by Jordan Starr for Dreer, the freshman. A lot of young players on this court right now for both teams.
And we mentioned it in the first game, but I think it's worth repeating, Birch. You just don't expect young people at that age to compete at such a high level and have success.
Especially in the 3A classification. That's, schools that have more bodies to choose from. Higher enrollment numbers.
Right.
And when you have, heck, even a sophomore out there in a 3A or a 4A team, that's usually pretty surprising. But this day and age, we're seeing more and more young talent, both girls and boys.
It's almost a, look what I found, rebound for Justice Nathan. The ball came right to her, and she just wasn't paying attention. But you're right about the higher classifications have more kids to choose from. And you hear college coaches talk about all the time, well, we're just young. We're just young. When we grow up, we're going to get better. The high school coaches go, well, yeah, we're young, but you know what? We're playing for state titles.
Exactly.
We're good now.
Long range shot, right wing for 3, and it's good. Count them up for Justin Nathan. Or actually, I think that was Deja Williford that pumped in the 3. That's a big shot for Lower Richland as they cut that lead to 5, but Dreer answers right back from Michaela Johnson in the paint.
Too long, too tall, too talented.
Another three-pointer. This one misses right side.
I told the story, I think after you got off the air the other day, Birch, or maybe you were still with us, when Jim Childers was having struggles with Eau Claire in those games we talked about earlier. He would always call timeout, and he would just say one thing: get the ball to Stanley. And then they'd throw it into Stanley Roberts, he'd dunk, and then Lower Richland never lost Eau Claire during those times. And I think that's what Dreer's saying, is let's just get it to Michaela. All will be right with the world.
Yeah, Michaela Johnson, 6'2", sophomore. But the all-state player for Dreer is Kadra Duckett, the 5'8" sophomore, and she's been quiet here in the second period. There's a big takeaway by LR. Up ahead to Jasmine Richardson, and she has it knocked out of her hands by Jonisha Myers, the senior.
Jonisha Myers, what a hustle play that was. Coaches talk about hustle. Some coaches even chart hustle plays. How many times you have a hustle play, and those are attaboys.
Another takeaway here by Dreer. Dreer with numbers, and Hopkins puts it down. Shaniqua Hopkins, the sophomore, on the fast break, and the lead is back to 9. Turnover, Lower Richland.
Well, we mentioned it earlier in the last game, the counterpoint. Well, Dreer made the opening point. Lower Richland cut it down to about a 4-point ball game with a counterpoint, but now Dreer's making an even stronger point.
Robinson checks back in. Hopkins will have a seat. Take a breather. Now Robinson sliding to her right, cuts back left. Dishes back to Jordan Starr. So we've got an 8th grader and a freshman on the floor and 3 sophomores for Dreer. There's not a single upperclassman on that court for Dreer. Nobody that could go to the prom unless one of the juniors or seniors invite them.
That's a good point. Yeah, they started with 4 sophomores, but at least Jade McDaniel was a senior to lead them.
Left wing, open three-pointer. Not there for Nathan. Lower Richland handles the rebound, however. Under a minute to play now here in the first half. And that one is going to go off the hands of Desiree Davis. It will be Dreer basketball.
You know, the same can be said, a point can be made for Dreer and all the young girls playing the highly successful program, having a Lower Richland in their region to help make them better, but playing in this game, playing at this level, playing against the competition they're going to play against this week and possibly next week will only make them better for future years. It's invaluable to play against the best and experience what it's like to have success and win championships or play for championships is a remarkable experience. And the younger you can do it, the more times you'll be able to do it because been there, done that.
Exactly. You learn how to handle the pressure. Inside, nice right-handed runner by Desiree Davis off the right elbow. And that's going to do it for the first half as the buzzer sounds and the second period comes to a close. It is Dreer 23, Lower Richland 16. We've got second half action when we return to the Florence Civic Center. Keep it right here on the South Carolina High School League Network.
films and TV.
And welcome back to lovely Florence, South Carolina, the Florence Civic Center. We're ready for the second half here in the Class 3A Girls Lower State Championships. My name is Birch Antley. I am joined by Alan Smothers, and the Dreer Blue Devils leading 23-17. We'll switch sides of the court. Lower Richland in black, moving left to right. The Dreer Blue Devils in whites will be moving right to left on your screen. Lower Richland in the first half, Alan, just never really did get a good look at the basket, just didn't get many offensive opportunities, had to rely on some defense to set up some plays. Dreer had a large lead earlier, but Lower Richland able to claw their way back into this ball game. Big three-pointer right there by Jasmine Robinson for the Dreer Blue Devils, and a good answer there by Lower Richland and number 25, Brashay Johnson.
That's the best look, maybe, in the low post they've gotten all night, and I knew you wanted to call that three. That's the reason I didn't jump in. And here's another good-looking shot.
Boom! There it is from the All-State player, Kadra Duckett.
How about that?
And a three-point bucket.
Dreer comes out with two bombs, and Lower Richland gets their best look in the low post all night, man. What's gotten into these girls at halftime?
Over right side, Jasmine Richardson. Now low post to Johnson. And Dreer controls the rebound quickly up ahead to Jasmine Robinson. Robinson in amongst the trees. Her shot misses right side. There's a big takeaway by Duckett, but she stepped out of bounds. But good hustle by Kadra.
Hustle play, no question. I was going to respond to your first thoughts about the first half of action. Now, Dreer's defense was good. I don't want to say it wasn't good, but what it was chaotic. It made Lower Richland uncomfortable. The size makes them uncomfortable, obviously, but then the guards bothered the ball enough that they just couldn't get it to the low post, and then once they did, the size of Michaela Johnson and Jalea Dunlap just really forced them to take bad shots and not get good looks. And I'm sure that's what Debbie Stroman told her team at halftime, was to be more patient to get those looks. They were a little impatient in the first half because Dreer made them uncomfortable.
Jasmine Richardson puts up a floater.
That was a good look.
Rebound snatched down by Kadra Duckett. And Duckett quickly down the far sideline, charges in, and she got it. Coast to coast for Kadra Duckett. Rebound and the score.
It was a good ball screen for Lower Richland and a good look at the shot. Just didn't fall that time. Another good inside feed. But look at the length. The length just gives you, I mean, when I coached, we had Cortland Freeman. He was 6'11", and we would beg guards to go by our guys outside. We'd say, be our guest. Take on that guy inside, because he's going to reject you 9 times out of 10. You're not getting any free stuff in the paint, and that's what Michaela Johnson's doing. They're just saying, okay, we're going to guard you, but if you get past us, go deal with her.
Yeah, and Kadra Duckett, she plays long as well, 5'8", but big wingspan. There's a nice shot inside, high percentage for Brashay Johnson, and Lower Richland still hanging around.
Lower Richland,
single-digit lead for Dreer.
Much more under control here in the second half. Those two, the first play and that play, were almost textbook.
Jaden Nathaniel, cross-court pass. Now Nathaniel at the top. Goes left side, three-pointer for Myers. Not there. Rebound into the hands of Michaela Johnson. Stick back, no. Brought down by Brashay Johnson for LR.
Had Johnson not backed out of there, she might have gotten a second offensive rebound. She took herself out.
Here's a three-point attempt by Richardson. Too strong off the backboard. Rebound goes to Duckett. And Duckett quickly ahead to Myers. And Myers rejected by Jasmine Richardson. Good play on defense there. Again, one of those hustle plays.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. A hustle play for Jasmine Richardson. We hadn't heard a lot from their All-State player tonight. The All-State 5'5" junior, 10 points, 4 assists, 3 steals a game. Got a great block. But you know who I was more impressed with? Janisha Myers' catch. I mean, she looked over her inside shoulder like a wide receiver. Made the great catch and put it on the floor.
And now she's at the line. Janisha Myers, first shot is in. Gets the congratulatory low fives from her teammates. Takes a few dribbles, eyes the basket, and rolls it in. 13-point lead now for Dreer. Half-court press for the Blue Devils. LR able to advance, but an errant pass along the far side. Out of bounds, but last touched by a Dreer Blue Devil, so LR maintains possession. Ashley Irving will pull the trigger. Inbounds to Jasmine Richardson, who floats right side, bottom of your screen. Richardson picks up the screen. Drives in, but there it is. That length in the paint by Dreer. Another turn away by Michaela Johnson. Now Duckett launches a three-pointer. Misses right side. Hustling for the rebound is Hopkins to keep it alive for Dreer. Just inside the three-point line, Myers. No. Rebound goes to Justice Nathan. And Duckett quickly back on defense, able to knock that pass away, but it's out of bounds to Lower Richland.
We have a first quarter update for the 3A girls game going on at the Bilo Center in Greenville. It looks like that place is going to be jam-packed. Greenville teams playing tonight. Wade Hampton, just like Lower Richland, both their girls and their boys got to the 3A state championship game, and Wade Hampton has jumped all over Clennon right out of the gate, 14-5 at the end of 1. And you can imagine when the south side Wade Hampton boys game gets started there. 2 city schools from Greenville, probably not a dozen miles away from one another, playing in Greenville to see who gets to go to Columbia for the state championship. Bilo Center could be sold out.
Yeah, and the Wade Hampton boys, they're the defending state champs. They knocked off Darlington a year ago in Columbia, looking for a return trip. Duckett fakes the 3, works it inside like she's supposed to Michaela Johnson. That's just smart basketball right there by Kadra Duckett.
Well, that's going to be 2-man, 2-girl, 2-woman basketball for a long time at Dreer High School.
Duckett had a clear shot, but noticed the high percentage is with Michaela Johnson. And credit Duckett for the assist. LR keeps it in bounds. LR with numbers now. Left side lay in, and she draws the foul. Shot is not there, though, but Jasmine Richardson, all-state player, averaging 10 points, 4 assists, 5'5" junior, will head to the free throw line.
I don't know, Birch, but did I fall asleep? Dreer's up 15, 35-20. Just, I mean,
well, there's
in the blink of an eye.
Quick 3-point shots. And they started out on a 6-2 run to come out of the locker room. Now it's a 16-point lead with 3:19 remaining in the third period.
But it looked like Lower Richland was playing better. I mean, they've looked good coming out of this second half. Actually, they put the points up on the wrong side. It's 35-22.
Yeah, so a 13-point ball game. Scoreboard error. And Dreer will call a timeout.
I was going to say, just to clarify, that is not our Chiron operator doing that. They're following the scoreboard, and the scoreboard here in the building put that up improperly. So it's 35-22, Dreer in front of Lower Richland. And again, it appears Lower Richland is much more settled than they were in the first half, much less bothered by Dreer's defense, but Dreer's offense has come alive here in the second half as well.
The Blue Devils are on top, and possession remains with Dreer as Hopkins will take the inbounds pass. Shaniqua Hopkins, just a sophomore, now over to Duckett, another outstanding 10th grader for Teresa Jones's squad. She starts 4 10th graders on this team, and look at that hard work in the lane by Michaela Johnson.
Well, I would say that's too easy, but it's not. I mean, she's 6'2". There's nobody for Lower Richland that even, I mean, it was within 4 or 5 inches of her, and she even only as a sophomore averages 10 points and 6 rebounds a game. She's finding the going too easy inside. They need to, start maybe fouling her a little bit. I mean, you don't want to use up your fouls and you don't want to be dirty, but she's operating far too easy inside.
3-point attempt by Justice Nathan. Misses left.
It was an offensive rebound by the Blue Devils, but another Michaela Johnson blocked shot.
Possession remains with the Diamond Hornets. Inbounds, and look at Duckett working to take it away. Duckett heading down, and she has it picked. And actually, the takeaway for Dreer was Jade Nathaniel, who was able to find Duckett to take it into front court for the Dreer Blue Devils, and now Duckett will stand on the line.
I like the fact that Lower Richland's not getting down, though. There's still a quarter plus left in this game, even though they're down 15, make it 16. They're still playing hard. You had 2 players get back to thwart that easy layup, but the Blue Devils are just starting to turn up the tempo now. They're turning it up another notch.
Duckett's second shot rims out into the hands of Lower Richland with possession. Ashley Irving. Irving over the shoulder pass.
This is kind of what Dreer did in the first half defensively. Make it all crazy like.
Yeah, just they'll plug that lane and make it difficult for Lower Richland to have any shots. I mean, LR all of their shots basically coming from the outside. In low to Johnson, and just a little too strong off the backboard.
Her easiest shot of the night ended up being one of her few misses. But what Dreer's doing is making it chaos on the perimeter. But if you get into the lane, there stands Michaela Johnson.
So the second foul on Michaela Johnson sends Brashay Johnson to the line. 5'10" sophomore for Debbie Stroman. And her first shot is a little short. It's the front iron. And checking in now for Dreer, Krista Canty. She's a senior. And Michaela Johnson will get a breather. So a little shorter lineup now on the floor for the Dreer Blue Devils. Second shot is up and in for Brashay.
You know, it was a tough decision, I'm sure, for the All-State Selection Committee to decide between Jasmine Richardson and Brashay Johnson for Lower Richland, because Brashay, I'm assuming because she's a sophomore, Debbie Stroman decided to nominate Jasmine Richardson ahead of her. But Brashay averages 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 steals to Jasmine Richardson's 10 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals.
Third team foul here for Dreer. Minute 45 remaining in the third period. There's Ashley Irving driving in. And a good putback by Deja Williford, the 8th grader.
6-footer, though. That's why she's in there right now, is Debbie Stroman is tired of seeing Michaela Johnson just dominate the inside. Although Johnson has taken a seat for the moment, she's put in Deja Williford to help out inside.
There's a takeaway in the bucket. Shea Mitchell for Lower Richland. And this shorter lineup for Dreer, giving LR some chances, but the Blue Devils answer right back.
Yeah, that allows Teresa Jones to wipe her brow a little bit and not second-guess her decision to sit down Michaela Johnson for a moment. As soon as they saw those 2 inside buckets, Michaela Johnson's right back at the scorer's table to come back in the ballgame.
Yeah, 14-point Blue Devil lead here with just over a minute to play, and Michaela Johnson checks back in, as well as the big 8th grader, Jalea Dunlap.
Yeah, that was tough.
So she goes, Teresa Jones says, I'm going back to my taller formation out there. I want more height on the court. And she gets it with those 2. Rebound, dropped in by LR, but Johnson immediately making her presence known, and she swatted that one away to her teammate, and Dreer has the basketball, but losing the handle off the pass
took her eye off
Michaela Johnson.
Right at the last second, took her eye off of it. The only other option that Debbie Stroman has is another sophomore, probably doesn't have maybe the strength to match up, as Samuetta Scott. She's 6'1", but we haven't seen her in the ball game yet, probably because she's just not ready. Some sophomores develop sooner than others, obviously.
Under a minute to play here in the third period. Lower Richland trailing and trying to fight their way back into this championship game. A whistle and a foul. And this should be a shooting foul here for Dreer, and it will be. So, to the line is Jasmine Richardson for Lower Richland. Drops it in. At the half in the girls' upper state matchup, it's Wade Hampton 27 and Clinton 13. The winner of this game will advance to Columbia to play either Wade Hampton or Clinton. Kadra Duckett now slows down the pace as Dreer possibly looking for the last shot here of the third period. 3-2 zone in effect for Lower Richland. LR comes out the challenge, looking for a steal. Duckett, excellent ball handler. Great dribble, puts up a shot, and she's fouled behind the three-point line. Wow. So that's going to send Kadra Duckett to the stripe for 3 shots. And that's what you, as a coach, always hate to see, especially with 4 seconds left before the period expires.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you just got to take your medicine. If she hits that shot,
Duckett comes up way short on that one.
Although, she throws up a couple of air balls and you get it back with 6 seconds left with a chance to cut deeper into that lead.
Misses the second.
Now,
Kadra trying to shake it off.
Yeah, Dreer's probably going to press full court here to keep them from getting it up quickly. But if they get a bucket here after she snaps the net on the 3rd free throw, they do press full court.
LR able to beat the press with Ashley Irving, slings up a prayer, and the rebound and stick back is not there. So the 3rd period comes to the close, and we've got the final 8 minutes when we return to Florence. This is the SCHSL Network. Birch, Antley, and Alan Smothers back with you here at the Florence Civic Center. Ready for the final 8 minutes of this Class 3A matchup to see who will advance to the state title game in Columbia next week. Right now, advantage Dreer leading 41-27. And Alan, what do the Diamond Hornets have to do to get back into this ball game here in the final 8 minutes?
Well, if I was coaching this team, and Debbie is certainly a much better coach than I ever thought about being, but I would try to push Michaela Johnson into the high post on the offensive end, keep her from hurting me down deep inside. I would put someone in front of her, behind her, push her into the high post. She's much less effective at that point. And then set right, I thought they were going to do it, set screens to open up three-point shooters. They didn't seal the defensive player down inside the three-point line to open up the three-point shot.
Richardson gives way to Ashley Irving. Now driving the baseline is Christian Brown, and boy, it's just tough to go in there and challenge.
Exactly.
Michaela Johnson.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. That you're living dangerously if you think you're going to drive into that lane and you're going to beat Michaela Johnson. You're going to out-jump her or shoot over her. If you do, it's probably just luck. And
the full court press works for Lower Richland as they come up with a takeaway. Nice spin, shoot, and score, Christian Brown.
She did what I was hoping she would do right there, because I'm looking for a good game.
Another takeaway. This time, Deja Williford, the 8th grader, snatches it out of the hands of Michaela Johnson, and she draws the foul.
Christian Brown shot the ball, got it into the lane, and shot the ball before Michaela Johnson was able to transition back from the defensive end or from the offensive end. They stole the ball, and Michaela Johnson was trailing the play. She wasn't able to transition back to the defensive side, and Brown got a shot up before she got in the lane. There it is.
Straightaway 3, bang!
What I'm talking about.
Jasmine Richardson. Jasmine Richardson from downtown, and Lower Richland has gone on a nice run here to start the 4th period. Dreer needs to try to come up with an answer here.
She's being guarded by Christian Brown. Christian Brown needs to push.
Oh, what an answer.
Oh, yes.
How about that? Jasmine Robinson, the sophomore, says, look at me, I can do it too.
Yeah, we're not relying strictly on Michaela Johnson offensively, are we?
LR needs an answer. That one is popped out of bounds by Duckett. Back-to-back three-pointers there. LR on their trip down the floor, nailing a three-pointer. Jasmine Richardson, and then Jasmine Robinson for Dreer says, I can top that. And that's just one of those shots that is really a momentum killer.
Yep.
It's one of those daggers you talk about, Alan. Left wing. 12-footer, not there, and Duckett clears the rebound. Kicks it up to Jade Nathaniel. Nathaniel trapped, but gets some help from Hopkins, and now Hopkins is in trouble, and LR comes up with a takeaway.
10 seconds in the backcourt.
Full court press. Oh, Dreer got the timeout.
No, you're kidding.
Yeah, the
coach is allowed to call timeout.
Yes, so Dreer got the timeout, and they will maintain possession. Teresa Jones got the timeout, and a great call by the official on the backside who was right there.
He was within earshot of Teresa Jones, and Jones knew that their 10 seconds was about to run out, so she called timeout, and that will free them up for another 10 seconds once they get the ball inbound. It's not like in college. In college with the shot clock up there, you've got 10 seconds period. If you don't get it across the timeline before that 25-second clock or the 35-second clock gets below 25, it's a turnover. Now it's a fresh 10 seconds for them to get the ball inbound, so Dreer will have it back. Smart play by Teresa Jones. But at least on that last possession for Lower Richland, Birch, they got a good shot. About a 14, 15-footer left of the key before Michaela Johnson could jump out on them, because she can get her hands on jump shots as well. Dreer has just got to, Lower Richland's just got to push Michaela Johnson into the high post here, not let her beat them anymore down inside.
Fans, more than 92,000 boys and girls compete in athletics in South Carolina. There were 205 high schools in the South Carolina High School League during the 2010-2011 school year, participating in 11 sanctioned sports for boys and 11 for girls. That's a message from the South Carolina High School League and Jerome Singleton, commissioner. 44-33 here in Florence. Class 3A Girls State Championships. What a weekend this has been, Alan. I'm telling you, from the first tip on Friday all the way to this game right here, it has been a lot of fun, and we still have one more to go. Duckett will take it down far sideline, splits the defenders. High arching shot, beautiful. How about that? That's just gorgeous from Taja Duckett.
Yeah, and I'm sure Debbie Stroman is thinking to herself right now, just not our night. That was a kick. They didn't call it.
Yeah, the official had his head turned. He wasn't on it. But LR able to pick up the points regardless. And another takeaway for Lower Richland. High percentage shot, rims out, rebound fought for, knocked out of bounds by Dreer. So Lower Richland should maintain possession here.
Yeah, it would have behooved LR to get that shot to fall before Michaela Johnson set up shop in the paint. Or as is the case here at the Florence Civic Center, the non-painted area.
Left wing, just inside the three-point line. Not there. Rebound tracked down in the corner by Jaden Nathaniel. Now Jasmine Robinson on the fast break. And knocked away by Justice Nathan. But the Blue Devils will have the basketball. They will inbounds underneath their rim. Shea Johnson checks back in for Lower Richland along with Deja Williford. Three-pointer, right wing, no. Rebound brought in by Shea Johnson, who just walked into the game. And we've got a Dreer Blue Devil who is shaken up a bit. And that is Jasmine Robinson. So we're going to take a timeout here from the Florence Civic Center. It's 4:38 remaining in this ball game. Dreer 46, Lower Richland 35. This is the SCHSL Network.
Square on her hip. Not being able to break her fall.
Back to live action after the injury to Jasmine Robinson, but she appears to be okay as she walked over to the bench under her own power. 4:30 remaining. LR trying to fight back into this ball game. They needed that one, and they got it from Chelsea Dennis from about 5 feet.
They're still within striking distance.
They bring the pressure, but a foul is committed by Ashley Irving.
That shot got it to single digits, and there's still more than half of this fourth quarter remaining. So the Blue Devils are not nearly out of the water yet.
Still plenty of time for Debbie Stroman and her Diamond Hornets. Right-handed dribble, Shaniqua Hopkins almost has it taken away. Now she is in trouble.
Wow.
And she is going to be fouled by Justice Nathan.
How that tiny little girl, Shaniqua Hopkins, only 5'3", how she was able to hang on to that basketball
without dragging her pivot foot.
She did not walk, and she hung on for dear life.
And Robinson is back in after taking a hard bounce on her hip off the hardwood. She's a tough customer. Right back into this ball game, and tie up there on the far sideline.
If I might interject here, Birch, we were dealing with Jasmine Robinson's hip injury. She fell without being able to break her fall. Get well wishes to Debbie Stroman's daughter, Morgan, the outstanding sophomore at the University of Miami. Started out like gangbusters this year, had an early season going, and I talked to Debbie before the game, and she felt just crestfallen that Morgan tore her Achilles tendon a couple of weeks ago and is out for the year.
There is Michaela Johnson pouring in more points. That one is just too easy for Michaela. Boy, torn Achilles tendon. Yeah. That is a tough injury to overcome.
So we wish the best for Morgan Stroman. She'll be back next year. And Miami was having a great year too, or is having a great year. They're in the top 15 in the country with the ACC tournament coming up here next weekend.
Deja Williford to the line. The young 8th grader, 6 feet tall, drains the first one. And she can make this a single-digit game right here.
It's
she
big.
knocks home the second. Rattles out, and skying in for the rebound is Kadra Duckett. Quickly up ahead to Robinson. Robinson, too strong off the glass. Rebound goes to Nathan. And Nathan quickly down the far sideline. Going to work it inside, and there's a turn back by Kadra Duckett with a little help from her friend Michaela Johnson.
I'm sure somebody's keeping up with it. Obviously, we're not, Birch, but we got to have double-digit block shots tonight. Got to have.
Yeah, and they're from those girls in the white and blue. Now at the line for Dreer, Michaela Johnson. I believe this might be Michaela's first trip, which is a little surprising, as strong as she plays in the lane. Michaela's shot is up and in, gets the friendly bounce off the rim here at the Florence Civic Center. Nice crowd on hand. Expect to have a wonderful crowd for our nightcap. We've had just fantastic fans all weekend.
Yeah, so it is possible to rattle one in on this end. I didn't know if that was possible the way McKelvey.
There it is, another blocked shot, Allen, for the Dreher Blue Devils.
Yep. I thought Marquis McKelvey was having such a tough night on that end earlier tonight that it wasn't possible to rattle one in.
Duckett is going to slow down this pace, work the clock, as it is certainly in the favor of the Dreher Blue Devils, leading by 12 with just under 3 to play. She'll give off to Robinson, who's being guarded by Justice Nathan. That's good defense there by Justice Nathan, just watching the hips of Robinson, and Robinson is going to be whistled for a travel.
I think that's the first time I've seen Teresa Jones become animated with disagreeing a call.
So Richardson will handle. Now dishes out to Ashley Irving, knifing in. Rebound goes to Dreer and Michaela Johnson. And now to Duckett, who wants to run. Duckett's going to take it herself, and Duckett draws the foul. Count that one on Shea Johnson. Sophomore on sophomore. 2:20 remaining in this bowl game. This is the 7th of 8 lower state championship games here from the Florence Civic Center. We got it started on a Friday night. Orangeburg-Wilkinson winning the 4A girls lower state championship. The Lexington Wildcats, the 4A boys. And our final game coming up after this will pit Hartsville, the Red Foxes, against the Lower Richland Diamond Hornets.
Now, why, Birch, the Diamond Hornets? For years, they were known as
it was just the Diamonds, but decided to add the Hornets later. And I believe they did that sometime in the 1990s, but
yeah.
You know, I grew up knowing them as the Lower Richland Hornets, or Diamonds rather, but the Hornet moniker was added later.
I mean, it was the Diamond Mine, which we talked about earlier. The last time I was in there now, still had the picture of the LR Diamond in there, and it was bigger than the Hope Diamond. But it was so cool. Of course, Lower Richland's women's team still likes to call themselves the Diamonds, but I don't know who, when, nor why they added Hornets to the Diamond Hornets.
And they are trailing the Blue Devils of Dreer right now, 50-40. These two teams met twice before in the regular season, with Dreer winning both of those games. And leading here in the third meeting between these pair of teams who compete in the same region.
I've never subscribed to that theory that, well, it's so difficult to beat a team 3 times in one season. Well, why? Because if they've beaten him twice before, why can't they beat him again?
Duckett showing her ball handling skills, kicks it over. Hopkins now works it inside to Johnson, and her shot a little bit too strong off the back glass. Or the back iron, rather, and possession will go to Lower Richland here as a foul was called on Jade Nathaniel.
Although my theory was debunked earlier today.
When Timmonsville knocked off C.E. Murray.
Just dominated the War
C.E.
Eagles.
Murray had defeated Timmonsville twice before in the regular season. And Johnson climbs the ladder to bring down the rebound. Hands off to Hopkins. Hopkins in trouble, and she loses it out of bounds, but off the foot of an LR defender. Minute 42 remaining here in this ball game. It's a 10-point Dreer lead. Dreer basketball. You hear the crowd just going crazy because the Hartsville Red Foxes boys squad just walked in the building. And this partisan crowd here from the PD giving Hartsville a big roar. I was wondering what was going on behind me. Duckett loses the handle, and it is picked up by Lower Richland quickly up ahead, but they cannot connect, trying to make this a single-digit lead. Now back out to Jade Nathaniel, wide open. Misses the shot, but picks up the foul committed by Christian Brown. 1 minute, 10 seconds remaining here in this ball game, and to the line goes Jade Nathaniel, the only senior the only upperclassman on that starting lineup for the Dreer Blue Devils. You think Teresa Jones feels good about her future at Dreer High School with 4 sophomores starting in a lower state championship game?
Absolutely.
And being productive.
And why not? I mean, if they're your best players.
And a productive 8th grader that comes in off the bench in Jalea Dunlap. Shot is there for Jade Nathaniel. And the lead is 12. 64 seconds remaining. Inside to Williford, and she misses the shot, and the rebound is hauled in by Michaela Johnson ahead to Kadra Duckett. Now Dreer will pull it back and just try to play some keep away here and work this clock. Johnson keeps it alive, but into the hands of LR's Ashley Irving. Irving pushes ahead. And spinning in the lane, count the basket, put her on the line. That's Christian Brown, who has played very well coming off the bench for Lower Richland, and she's only in the 10th grade as well.
Weird how, and you see this every game. It's not just, tonight's occurrence, but it always seems like, when you're struggling, it's your toughest shots that go in, and the easiest ones, you're by yourself under the basket and you can't throw it in. But I'm telling you, Michaela Johnson has got to be nearing a triple-double tonight. We know she's got double-figure points. She's got double-figure rebounds, obviously. But with her block shot, she might have the proverbial triple-double. And she gets a steal.
38 seconds left in this ball game. And Allen, it looks like Dreer, for the 3rd time this year, will best Lower Richland, and they will make reservations for the state championship in Columbia. Wade Hampton defeats Clinton.
No, it's end of the third.
End of the third, I'm sorry, with Wade Hampton leading Clinton 37-25. That game in the Upper State Championship. 31 seconds remaining. And it's a 9-point lead here for Dreer. Lower Richland has cut it into single digits. And a quick foul. That one will send Shaniqua Hopkins to the line. need to thank our outstanding production crew here on the SCHSL network that have made you and I sound good, look good, Alan. We've got a top-notch crew. Todd, Allison, our chief camera operator, Rich, and our executive producer, lead director, Mike Phillips. One of the easiest guys to work with in the business, and absolutely enjoy having the support staff that we have.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you're right about that. And letting professionals do their job, not worry about, being overly protective or demanding. That's the way I like to work with people as well. A lot of production companies I work with are like that, hey, you show up, you do your job, and nobody's going to tell you exactly what to do. And then there's others that like to direct your every breath, much less every word.
Jasmine Richardson fires over to Dennis, launching a desperation three. Cleared away by Duckett, and that's going to do it. 5 seconds left on the clock. Count them down. Dreer is going to the state championship. Your 2012 lower state champions from Columbia, the Blue Devils of Dreer High School. Actually, Alan, hold on 1 second. They're going to put 3 seconds on the clock as there was a late foul. So not over just quite yet, but with a 10-point lead, it's going to be Dreer penciling their names in on the final lines of the championship bracket. And they will meet either Clinton or Wade Hampton next week in Columbia. Wade Hampton leading that game at halftime or the end of the third up in Greenville. So we could be having a battle between Columbia and Greenville next week. And now the buzzer will sound, and it's official. Your 2012 lower state champs, the Dreer Blue Devils. They defeat Lower Richland 53-43. For our entire crew here on the SCHSL network from Florence, South Carolina, for my wonderful broadcast partner Alan Smothers, I am Birch Entley. This has been a production of Play On Sports here on the SCHSL network. We will talk to you next time.